So my name is Harris Lenz, and I'm a graduate of the class of 2026, and I was in the Fundamentals Issues in Text program for my major. Well, I think Greece and Rome is exceptional for two reasons. I think that the first is it just gives you exposure and an appreciation for some of the classical texts that have shaped the Western tradition, both in literature and in philosophy. One of the texts that I really enjoyed reading was the Iliad, also the Aeneid, which are, Greek and Roman texts from 2000 years ago, but have inspired authors, literally, Nobel Prize winning authors for the last, 2000 years. So you just get to read about like what everybody has read and found inspiring, and you can find what in it you find particularly inspiring for you. So that's one thing. I would say the other thing is really just that exposure to these texts helps you see how long form writing, especially like epic poetry, can actually be, it can help you with your own writing. And so I say that to say, you start understanding how metaphors are working, and you do literary analysis at a college level, which actually helps you structure your own writing once you start thinking about when you're writing a paper, how you organize your argument, how you take apart each section of the text. I have a few pieces of advice. I think the first would be approach your reading with care and attention, but also don't worry about obsessing over every detail on every page in such a way that you lose the forest for the trees. And so it can be really intimidating once you get to college, you're at UChicago, it's an incredible academic and intellectual environment. You're going to receive assignments where you're encouraged to read 50, 75, maybe 100 pages of reading before the next class. And it might feel very intimidating. And that might lead you to brush it off entirely or Google a summary of those pages. I would really encourage you instead to approach it with an understanding that you're not expected, nor are your other, classmates going to know every single page memorized, right? Your professor might, but that's not expected of you, especially in, a core class. So I would really say approach your reading with care and attention, with curiosity, and with an excitement about what you might be able to contribute to class discussion and write about in your future papers. But don't let large volumes of reading intimidate you away from bringing genuine excitement and intellectual curiosity to the text. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is take advantage of the professor who is inviting you to read a text with them. And what I mean by that is professors who teach in the core typically are experts not only in their subject matter, but in working with younger students. And they're very good at remembering what it was like to be a student themselves and offering you strategies to make close reading and argumentative writing easier. And so oftentimes they will show you an example of a paper that they've written or break you up into groups where you can chat with peers about not just what your ideas are, but how you might begin to write about those ideas. And so I would really say lean into the learning environment that hopefully the professor will facilitate. I was really lucky that both of my professors in Greece and Rome were very passionate, not only about the topic, but about teaching. And I find that that's really an experience that I encourage you to lean into at UChicago.